Hey everyone, how's it going? Another episode, Shift Work and Jam Sessions. Very excited for the guest today. How are you, Ayesha?
I'm great. How are you?
Life is good. Life is better now that I'm with you. So
that's so sweet.
Dang, you can't get better than this for sure. But so do you want to introduce yourself, Ayesha?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Ayesha Had. I'm here in KW, and I'm an R&B singer-songwriter. I've been performing since I was about 13, 14 on stages, and I'm really starting to sink into original music and community here in KW.
I love it. That sounds amazing. So maybe we'll start at the beginning. Were you born in KW? Did you come here when you're younger? How did you get here?
Yeah. So I was born in Grand River Hospital.
Nice.
So, very KW.
An OG.
Yeah, OG. My dad came from Guyana, and my mom was here.
Okay.
And then they had me. But I've always been here, but I've been going back and forth between Cambridge and Kitchener kind of my whole life.
Yeah.
So I did go to some schools in Cambridge, and then I came back to Kitchener actually for high school.
Oh, word, okay.
And then after high school, I've just been here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's legit. I like it. So Guyanese, eh?
Guyanese.
Awesome. Do you ever go to the Caribbean festivals or anything?
Yeah, I used to. I went to Caravan one time. I would like to go back again. But I know my family, they always put on their little Caribbean parties, the basement parties where it's telling everybody on the block, hey, we're going to be making a little bit of noise.
Yeah.
But it's always a good time.
The block parties, for sure.
Parties, yeah.
Awesome. So how did you get into, you mentioned R&B, how did you get into music itself? What age did you start? What age did you know, okay, I'm a star because you are a star?
Oh my God.
What age were you, how did you get into it?
It's actually interesting because I was talking to my mom about it the other day. And in the Guyanese culture, at least my grandparents, they got me gold bangles when I was a kid.
Okay.
When I was a baby.
Yeah.
You get them. I guess it's just something that I was given.
Yeah.
So I had them, and I had one on each arm. And I don't know exactly how old I was, but I kept hitting them off everything because I liked the sound. So I'd hit them off wooden posts or off the fridge, off the glass table.
Yeah.
And then I broke them. And so they had to get them again. They got me another set. And then I did the same thing. Smashed them around. Broke them. They smelted both of them down so they were solid.
Yeah.
And then my mom took them away from me.
Oh,
and
shoot.
So she noticed that I liked sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And she got me my first drum when I was 2.
Oh, word.
So I got one of those first timer where the sticks are attached to the drum.
Yeah.
So I got that, and then I moved up to this almost rock band electronic drum kit type thing, and then moved to a real kit, and I just kept playing drums.
Dang. So from a young age then, eh?
Yeah.
Shoot. And then so how did you get into the singing aspect of it?
So that's also a funny story. I used to sing in the car,
Okay.
and I used to think that the back seat was a different world. My parents couldn't see me, my brother didn't know, so I'd be in there singing, and I would sing, and my brother actually one day, I was 7, and he heard me, and he was like, you can't sing, you should stop singing. And I was like, okay, all right, true, fair enough. And so I stopped singing, but then I went to Eastwood.
Okay.
When I was younger, getting into high school, I auditioned.
Yeah.
And I actually went for drums.
Oh, word.
And
okay.
Yeah, I got in. I majored in drums. I saw that there was an elective I could take that was an open, no major, just a minor course for me to take. It was just whatever you want to do. I went in there. One of our first assignments was to sing our favorite chorus from a song.
Okay.
And at the time, it was Sweater Weather by the Neighborhood.
Okay.
So that one.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, my teacher, she was like, you could sing anything. And from there I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how much I love to sing. And then I just snowballed into, I started in a minor course, went to a major course, skipped a grade vocally.
Oh, word.
And then just kept performing.
Yeah, that's legit. So it went from drums to your own world singing in the back of the car to, getting into Eastwood to, projecting your voice around KW now, eh?
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah. It's actually, I guess I never really took in that I was performing that much, but yeah, I've been doing a few shows around. There's a lot of things in the past year that I've been really proud of too that we've done.
As you should be. And maybe we'll get into that then. Maybe that's the next question is, What performances have you done in the past? Because I know I saw you at the Sam Nabi and Friends concert, and I was like, whoa, this is some next level stuff. I gotta talk to her. What other performances have you done in the past? And when I say past, I mean 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
True.
Like, what are some highlights that you can think about?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, when I was in Eastwood, we had all these opportunities to go to colleges and universities. Like, I performed at Humber or University of Toronto. We did the Kiwanis Festival. I did a few other places. I did the Conrad Centre as well. We had a show there, and like Rogers TV was there. So when I was like 15 or 16, I was like, Rogers TV, that's awesome.
Yeah.
More recently, I think I took a break from music after high school because it was just, there were some practices and routines I got involved in that were pretty harmful to me as a person and in my creative process. But in February of this year, I was able to be part of Legacy by Rufus John.
Yeah.
He always has that every year. And I performed at the Conrad Centre with the Recipee Band.
Okay.
They're from Toronto. They're a really big band out there. And I was able to perform one of my original songs in front of a sold-out crowd. It was like there were people standing in the back because they couldn't get seats.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, the response from this. And I also got mentoring in the months or weeks prior to actually doing the show.
Through the program,
yeah, that's what it is. So I'd love to go into that too, but the mentoring helped me just to like snap out of all of those terrible things that I was told or the harmful routines I had. And I was like, well, yeah, I forgot. Music is a form of expression. It is just who you are. It doesn't have to be anything else. So from there, I was able to be part of Rufus John's band, Mama's Kitchen, and we performed at the KW Multicultural Festival on like that massive stage.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah.
I was there and I don't know. Sorry, I'm like geeking out just now. That is awesome. How many people were in that? Because I feel like was it a big group?
The band?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, we had like a solid, normal band, like the drums, bass, guitar, keys.
Okay.
And then it was me and Rufus as vocalists.
So I think I met you before even I thought I met you. That's amazing.
That was the day?
Yeah, that was the day.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Sorry.
That's sick. That's sick.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then, so through the Legacy program, maybe you can dive into a little bit of that because, you brought up something that I hadn't even thought about before is, harmful things through music that might make someone say, it's not for me, or I'm going to take a break for a little bit. What was it about that program that brought it back out of you?
Yeah. So Rufus sent me that. We had been working prior to, or he had been talking to me about my music prior to that. And I thought it was just like a little one-off here, one-off there, just kind of checking in on me, just trying to see, kind of keeping me a little bit more accountable. And I struggle with that. So thankfully to him, I'm very grateful for everything he's done.
Yeah.
And so I auditioned with one of my songs, and at that time, I sang a song that maybe is a little explicit in some themes that I had written, and I was like, I just don't know if this is even going to make it in, but it's one of my favorite songs. It's one of the ones I have right now that's finished.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try. And thankfully I got in with that one, and he had a vocal mentor. Her name is Toy, and she sat down with me. It was all over Zoom, unfortunately, for like a little bit, just because there were some issues, but when we were doing it over Zoom, she just talked to me first. We didn't dive right into music. We didn't dive into the warm-ups or the technicalities. She just talked to me for a bit.
Yeah.
She learned about me and then asked me about the song. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot, like, it's not about just drilling and having things be technically up to a certain standard or me having to hold back on the way I am. And so from that program, when she started opening me up, we started doing in-person rehearsals.
Okay.
And the Recipee Band is insane. I literally, after that whole experience, I had my band, because we were trying to put a band together. Yeah. I took them to a Recipee show in Toronto. I was like, we're going, book out the day, get your tickets, we're going to Toronto. And my guitarist is also my producer. who was also my partner.
Nice.
But he had never seen an R&B show before.
Okay.
He was just in kind of like the metal hip hop scene.
Okay.
So he'd never seen an R&B concert. And he, to this day, still talks about that show.
Word.
Like, they are a crazy band. So I got to play beside them.
Yeah.
And I was just in my insecurities in this like vulnerable state of not being enough.
Yeah.
And then the Recipee Band took my song and they brought it to life in a way I've never heard before. It's the first time I've ever heard somebody else play my song. And I was like, oh my God, this is a feeling.
Yeah.
And I was getting mentored actually during that rehearsal while they were playing my song. And it was just me and the vocalist, and she was actually talking to me about like technicalities, but the band was going off. And they were just playing it in the background. They were soloing over it. They were trading solos. I was like, my song?
Yeah.
You're feeling something from my song and you're working with it. You think it's good?
Yeah.
And so all of the doubts, all the insecurities I had about my music not being enough or not being good enough because vocally or technically I wasn't as sound as the greatest opera singer, or I wasn't in RCM, or I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do.
Right.
As like a young, impressionable teen, it's hard when you grow up in that setting. So as soon as I was able to be part of Legacy, I realized that I had come to in the community.
Wow. Because
music is community.
Right.
And I forgot that.
Wow. That is amazing. Like, that's what you just said, like, whoa. Am I on planet Earth still? Like, but yeah, that's right. I think people forget that music isn't, hitting every note and doing these things that they teach you in school, but it is a feeling. It's a sense of people around you, and the fact that, like, I can't even imagine what you were feeling when you write a song and other people want to play it and other people can put things in it and add to it or mix it up a little bit and add their own spice. Like, what a feeling that must be.
And I had background singers and everything,
bro.
It was the whole night. And that's the thing also, I missed feeling supported.
Yeah.
In music, a lot of times, especially in school, you're doing a solo and there's a backing track. You are told, like, you are docked marks if your shoulders aren't down.
Oh, wow.
If your breathing isn't right, if you're not bending your knees a little bit, whatever the requirements are, like, those are mine.
Yeah.
And you are docked marks for that.
Jeez.
And you're by yourself. I'm not supported by a band. I don't feel comfortable. I'm like alone here and having all of my peers judge me. That's the whole thing. And they even had it in school. They had little comment cards. And so you would be doing your piece. You'd be like, this is my piece. I studied it for this. This is my introduction. They play the backing track. You don't even get time to like sit or be. Like they play the backing track and then your peers write down stuff about you. If I screeched, you screeched. Should have breathed better. Should have done this better. So you take those home and then you just see, oh yeah, my peers. My teacher doesn't think I'm good enough. My peers don't think I'm good enough. Nobody likes what I'm doing.
Jeez.
And it's like every week.
It's just a negative until you're broken down and why am I doing this, right?
Yeah.
I totally, I can see where you're coming from now. It's starting to make sense. But what blows me away though is I think about hip hop, I think about soul, I think about R&B, I think about the beginnings of that, and it was just like you said with your Guyanese parties. It's just people having fun, people just singing, people just freestyling, people just rapping, people just doing their own thing without any negative connotations. And if you do make a mistake, cool, that's fine, that's a part of the song, right?
Yeah. So
the fact that I think about schools are teaching you the opposite of everything must be perfect and there's no exceptions, it must be like this. How are we creating more artistic people? How is that working?
That's the tough part too, and I saw a lot of my friends in the music program go through it. We didn't, to dive into this, to really just let you know what was going on. I had a friend group, and we had our jazz band. Yeah. And all my friends were regarded as prodigies in their field. If they were a trumpet player, my trumpet player that was in my jazz band got asked to be in the Philadelphia Philharmonic. from here, straight out high school. Didn't
Wow.
have to. He didn't go. But that's the thing, you know, music, you are broken down sometimes. And our friend group, I had a friend, she played violin.
Mm-hmm.
She found out that there's a percentage of cyanide in apple seeds. And all of us at school started eating apples because I think we saw something like if you swallow like 200 of them, you're out. And so we all, as a collective, were like, let's get 200 for each of us. And after our band practice one day, we'll go. And it was always a joke, but we collected them. The teachers thought that we were healthy because we were just eating apples, but they found the bag in the locker.
Dang.
And that's when we didn't get in trouble. Nobody said anything, but that's, you know, we were 15, we were 14, 15, out here being berated, out here being like it's not enough, and then still expected to go to traditional high school. Like we were doing all these performances in between our math, our science, our history, expected to be on honor roll. If we didn't get a certain average, we were dropped out of our arts program, which was our life, our living, breathing passion.
Dang.
Like it was, I had never known that experience was so unique.
Yeah.
Until I talked to other people who went to like a high school that didn't have an arts program.
Wow, Ayesha, yo.
I didn't know.
And it's one of those things because if you're in it, you don't know any different, right? And all your friends are in it, so that's all you're seeing and hearing. Wow.
And they're all highly regarded. They're all the top of the top in terms of our music ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are the music program. We were trying to do our best, and then we're told all these things, you know, but you know, we worked through it.
Yeah.
We got through it.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of my friends, like they didn't continue doing music after school.
Shoot.
And they didn't, like, you know, my friend who played violin,
Yeah.
she went on like a snow excursion once and like purposely injured her shoulder
Oh,
so that
my
she
goodness.
couldn't
play
play
the
violin anymore.
Oh,
you
man.
know, like things like that. Or the trumpist became an electrician because he was like, I just want to chill, and I just want money, I just want to sit, like I just don't want to be working this hard anymore, because it was tough.
And electricians aren't like
Yo,
lazy by any means.
Listen,
so
yeah, I know.
that just tells you what kind of level that you're at. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Dang. Well, I am so happy, and I know people who are gonna listen to your stuff are glad that you got to the other side, because, yeah, that's amazing. And if it takes more people like Rufus John and like the legacy program to, you know, get rid of that brainwashing, because that's what it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of that brainwashing and break those mindsets of understanding that music's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to go home at the end of the day and still want to sing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was crazy. Like there was a time too when we were 17, we were in grade like 11, 12.
Yeah.
And we had been taught pretty much everything that we were going to be taught, and one of my music teachers was like, "All right, now go make money with it." And we were like, "Excuse me? All I know how to do are jazz standard covers. That's all I know how to do. I don't know how to do anything. So what am I supposed to do with this information?" Or like there were times when I was in class doing like an opera song, and they were like, "I just don't think you feel it." And I'm like, "It's a French opera song. I don't know what's going on. How am I supposed to feel that? I'm not into opera. I'm not into this, bro." Like,
yeah. Where's this passion supposed to, you know, emulate from, right?
Yeah.
Dang.
And they just told you, they just like, feel. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Let me just feel real quick.
Yeah. The disconnect is wild there, right?
Yeah.
It's like brainwash and then go make money. Go make money. Jeez.
Yeah. That's it.
Dang. I did want to ask you the next thing was, because you mentioned that Rufus John song, and you mentioned some projects you're working on. What is your music making process? Because I think it is so cool that you're not just out here doing covers. You're making your own unique songs, like lyrics and you know, harmonies, and dang, like how does your process look like? Are you at home? Are you somewhere else? Or where do you get the ideas from?
Yeah. I'm typically at home. I'm typically alone.
Mm.
And I have a little keyboard in my apartment, just in my room. And I'll sit down, and I did it in high school too when I used to write stuff. I would just be alone with a keyboard. And I don't play proficiently at all, but I sit there and I just put things together, and it's really janky. and it takes a long time. But then eventually I stumble on some chords or something, or like I sit down with a guitar and, you know, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna bar this, I'm gonna press this note, I'm gonna go 3 frets up, I'm gonna try.
Damn.
And then if I find a chord progression that evokes something, because a lot of times I feel like I don't pay attention enough to what's going on or my feelings. I have to get through it, right?
Yeah.
So if something's happening in the family, with me, with my peers, I look at it for face value, I find a solution logically, and then I go home. So sometimes I'm like, oh, there's all this stuff that I'm not paying attention to emotionally. And the only time I really take from that is from when I'm on a keyboard, when I'm in front of something. Like I have a song that I called Roses that I've been working on. And I showed my producer, and he actually asked me about the lyrics. He was like, this seems like a becoming of for you. Like, what happened here?
Whoa.
And I noticed it was all of the terrible feelings I had from a prior relationship that I didn't have time to get over because the relationship ended with me having a severe concussion.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like, all right, well, I couldn't process it then. It's a year later, and I'm processing it now in front of my keyboard. So I normally get an idea down, I record it on my phone, like very minor, very little, and I write all my lyrics in a book. I don't type them up or anything. And then once I have a loop, put that loop in my FL, and then I write pretty much the whole song over it, and then I take out the loop in parts, and that's when I start producing, and I start making the elements and where I want things to be emphasized, because for me, it's always the writing first.
Okay.
It's the story first.
Yeah.
Because the story evokes the emotion, the producing makes you feel.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's how I think about it.
Yeah. That's wild. And I also thought about, like, you said you write it down, not like, I feel like your generation, and I think I'm part of, maybe I'm a little too old, I don't know. But the generation is typing, right? Is we have computers, why don't you type? You have an iPad maybe even, why don't you use the tablet? But the fact that you're putting it to pen and paper, do you feel different versus typing? Like, do you get a different sense?
Yeah. I recently wrote a feature on a song that I'm hopefully going to be on. But I was given this song and I typed everything. I typed my verse.
Yeah.
And to me, when I'm on a computer, or if I have my phone around me, I feel you still get distracted because, you know, you're part of everything. What if my mom calls? What if my dad calls? What if my partner calls screaming about something?
Yeah.
Or what if someone gets, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when you're constantly connected to everything else, you're not connected to yourself. And the only thing that, like, the whole point of music for me is to be connected to myself, because it's such a, we don't have enough time, we don't allot enough time to connect with ourselves in the day. So writing to me also solidifies that every word I say is there for a reason. If it wasn't going to be there for a reason, I was going to take it out.
Wow.
There should be a breath. There shouldn't be there if I don't mean something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of reminds me of, and Dakota, if he was here, he'd mention it, is journaling.
Yeah.
Right? He got me into journaling, actually. And so I do it kind of once a day, twice a day thing. And there's something to be said, like you mentioned, being alone and unconnected, disconnected from everything else. Because you're right, I do the journaling on a piece of paper too, and a book. Because you're right, if you're writing on a computer, a signal just went off, or a ding just went off, or someone just called, or, but if you can get away from that, you're getting your true self and your true feelings on that piece of paper, like you said.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, it's tough to, like, we're getting into some deep stuff. But
yeah, we are getting deep here. Holy.
Just to be human, because we are built in this, I don't want to say society, but in this way that we are to be connected. We are to be multitasking. We have to split our priorities and split our brain into functioning on these different levels. And we aren't taught how to emotionally regulate, how to learn about our feelings, how to handle anger and depression and pain and grief. You never hear about any of this stuff. It's just on to the next. But that's why I think when some people do, they connect with journaling, or they connect with music, or their other coping skills like crocheting or something. People are able to sit there by themselves and heal, and we don't heal anymore, or it's not a priority, which is super unfortunate, especially in like our workload now. Even working 5 days a week, it's like you get, say it takes 3 hours to unwind after work, you get like a few hours to clean the house, you gotta go to bed next day. And then it's like, all right, I got today, I have Saturday, and I got one day to wake up late. Sunday morning I can wake up late, and then I'm back on it. And it's like, well, when do I get to relax into myself, or learn how to handle the stressors of everyday life? Because it's so heavy, and we just negate it because of our working culture. It's just on to the next. Let's make money, make me money. If you're an employee for a boss, like, it's just on to the next. But having journalism, having music, songwriting, even if you're not putting it out anywhere, like, just doing that, sitting with yourself, is so important.
That's amazing. I have a question, and it's kind of along the same lines but different. Is, you mentioned your songmaking process. When you're doing this, do you ever think about, okay, this is going to be a number one hit? This is what I need to do to, emulate what's popular. This is what I need to do to get out there. Or do you truly, and I'm genuinely asking, write your feelings and write what's going through your head? Like, do you think you can do both, or do you think they're two separate things?
I actually have never once thought about a number one hit. I'm like a small artist in KW. I have one song out, I'm not doing anything crazy to think about hits, but a lot of my music and a lot of what I'm learning to be myself is stemming from insecurity. So a lot of times when I do write stuff, and my producer is my partner, I'm supposed to have this like huge connection. I like him as a partner. It's a deep-seated connection. Him as a producer, it's a deep-seated connection, like on a higher field. But I'm still scared to show him the rough parts of the songs that I've made, because, what if he doesn't get the vision, or what if he doesn't understand, or this is just me expressing, so what do I do from here? And a lot of it, obviously, it does stem from like insecurities. So I never actually really think that any of my songs are that good until somebody else works on it, or somebody else feels something from it. Then I'm like, this is okay. This is all right. But if a song, to me, I've written songs and had them sitting for like a year, 2 years. I like go back and I listen to them every once in a while. If I like a week later can have that stuck in my head, then I'm like, all right, maybe I should do something with this one. Maybe I should let this one out or something. But yeah, it's mainly just my goal as an artist, especially here in KW. I want to bring something kind of like Jhene Aiko. She has a tiny desk. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No.
Her tiny desk involves singing bowls.
Okay.
And all of her music, actually, she has an album, I think it's Chilombo. And that one, she's very into chakras. And so she has her whole album list starts from the crown chakra and goes all the way down, because every chakra has a different tonal center. So if the chakra at the top is E, the first song on the album starts in E and goes all the way down, and there's singing bowls throughout. And it's just my goal with dealing with so many insecurities and my depression and all of the terrible things that I've pushed through. My goal is to just have an audience together, feel together, relax and breathe together. I don't want to bring any hype thing that's gonna, I don't make hype music. I make music for us to sit down and feel together. I want it to be like an emotional release. I want people to feel calm and feel peace if they haven't felt it in a while. Just because, we don't get to stop.
No, we don't. That's amazing. I honestly, Ayesha, I know you're working on stuff, but I can't wait until it comes out. And I can guarantee you it's good. Just put it out. Just get it out. For everyone listening, they're like, just put it out. Come on, we gotta listen. Because that is an interesting feeling. Like, that's an interesting take. That not only are you not about hits, that's not what it's about. It's not that, because you have been through some things where you want everyone else to take that time and relax and be together as one. And like, to me, I think that you could argue is more important than a hit on the radio, right? It's something that I think humans, and you mentioned this level, humans need. And if it's going to Ayesha's concert and I'm like, after the concert, I just feel like on another level and I just feel amazing, what more can I ask for? Like, I love the direction you're going. And you mentioned that's your goal, because that's an amazing goal.
Yeah, and it's a tough one, obviously. Like, how do you get everybody to feel? How do you get everyone, because, even crowd work, sometimes people don't want to be involved with singing things back, but it's because people don't want to be involved because either their insecurity or they're not feeling it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a super hype concert and somebody just like wants you to be screaming just to hype up more, it's like, we're already hyped, bro.
Yeah,
we're already there.
We're at that level.
We're here. We can't go over. It's just, those concerts are great too, because you can feel energized and you feel like when you come out you can do anything. You have all this energy for the next 12 hours. And then what?
Yeah.
And then what 7 months from now? Oh, that was a good concert. Yeah, it was cool. Like, they had some hype stuff. It was cool.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to have people experience peace. And I think like-minded individuals who also like R&B, who are on that level, will appreciate it. So I know for sure I'm not going to be for maybe everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be for everybody. I'm trying to be for my community. And I want to build that support system. So not only for me, because sometimes I don't feel supported, but to know that the other people who don't feel supported, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's natural. It's normal. We aren't supported, but we can all be supported for this hour. We can all sit together. We can have this serene music playing in the background and breathe together before I start singing about how it's all right to be a little sad, or it's okay to be going through some things. We're gonna make it out. It's gonna be fine. And it's actually interesting because, what I was mentioning before we started recording, the Jon Corbin project, the gospel idea I put in is solely that. That's the idea. Lyrics behind it, everything. It talks about, my depression, and one day for me, a light switch just flipped. I saw everything in gray. I really didn't even experience color for a while.
Wow.
It was really, I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't know that people saw things the way that they did after this flip just switched. I finally had rested. I think it was during COVID or something. I was just making the same noodles in the same bowl that I always made.
Yeah.
But the bowl was black on the outside and red on the inside. And I was like, this is vibrant. And I looked outside and I was like, the sky is blue, like that blue? I always saw it as a muted gray blue, I don't know, it was so muddled. Everything was muddled. Dang. And you don't really understand how the chemicals in your brain impact everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But that's what the song is about. It's just the flip switch for me. If you stay here with me, it will flip for you at some point. And I'm going to be here. I'll be waiting. And that's that's actually one of the lyrics is, I'll be waiting here for you. Because you'll get here.
I respect that. Oh, that's so cool. And let's talk a little about the Corbin thing. We got a chance to talk off the mic, but let's chat a little bit about that. Can you kind of tell everyone what you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jon Corbin, a very amazing hip-hop artist in the community. He's doing so much for the community. He's so passionate. He asked me to be a part of this project, which is called the Hip Hope Mixtape. And it's a hip-hop mixtape all about just hope and things getting better. And he's asked a bunch of hip-hop artists in the community to be involved. And so my role in this is just to aid the artists. So they have their verses, maybe they need a hook. I'm there to write it, I'm there to sing it. Or if they want background vocals or something to layer it up to make it a little more impactful, I'm there with one of my great friends, Kiki Wilson. She's also a vocalist on this project. And we're working together with all of these artists to make their visions come true. And it's, as I was mentioning too, I've never been a part of a project like this. It's always been just, this is your song, this is your beat, this is your thing, write over it, do your thing, send it back.
Yeah.
But this is like, we are in the studio together. We are all talking about this together. We're all going through it together. And so far I've had the 2 sessions with Tate at Trackhouse Studios.
Okay.
And just being involved has been so altering, because Jon's also just this amazing mentor. I was sitting down with him alone before any of the artists showed up, and he was kind of just talking to me about what was going on, and I was trying to talk to him about the balance between our childlike behaviors that make us feel kind of whole versus our corporate work life. And it's like, how do I come home guilt-free and just be there in the moment and enjoy it?
Yeah.
I can't anymore. If I go and I sit down and I try to play Stardew Valley, I'm in there for 15 minutes until I realize I have dishes to do, I have laundry to do, I can't sit, I have 2 hours to eat, I gotta make dinner before I get up and start my 9 to 5 again, just going through all my tasks. And unfortunately for me, my job, I'm accessible 24/7 to my team.
Yeah.
And if they call me at 7 p.m. at night, they call me at 7 p.m. at night.
And you're taking that call and and
then I'm back in.
Jeez.
How do I sit? How do I relax? How do I feel all right? And Jon and I talked about it, and he just kept giving me this advice. We had this crazy conversation that allowed me to feel again like I was heard, I was supported.
Yeah.
I know this community is out there. I know it's needed because Jon does it, Rufus does it. They're amazing mentors, and I've somehow been able to find my way in there.
Yeah.
And they're helping. It's just, I know that this is out there, and this project is helping us as artists. And then so I know once it comes out, I just have a feeling it's going to help someone. Someone's going to connect to something on the album. Because every album is, or every song, is about hope in a different way. Whether it starts low, or starts with being depressed, or whatever, or if it starts with just, this was the issue I was having, and I came out of it. It's all about hope.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What an amazing idea. What an amazing project. Like, that's something, because I have a bad feeling that hip-hop and R&B have a mix of connotation of everything's party. Everything's, going to the club. Everything's, about the street, whatever it is. But the fact that breaking it down and bringing it back to humanity of, this is what hip-hop is and hope, and like you said, someone's going to get something out of it. And not just someone, many people, I feel, because just you talking about that to me is me thinking about things in my own life where I'm like, you made the connection of, you feel guilty just spending time playing a video game or maybe watching a movie. I get that too. I'm like, shoot, maybe I should be doing this, or maybe I should be doing that, and oh man. And then you just do nothing. Like, I feel, right? Do you get that? Yeah.
We just get so down on ourselves. Like, we're programmed that if we're not productive, we are not worth it. We are not valuable unless we're productive. And it's like, you have to stop. You have to rest at some point to be productive.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're going to burn out. You're going to find yourself in bad situations. You're not going to be reaching the goals you want to be reaching.
Absolutely. It's no good. Like, it's almost a worker bee mentality, right? It's like, I must consistently work for the colony, for this community that I think exists. But in reality, the community that I need to be with is not the worker bees. It's things like this hip hop for hope and listening to your soundtrack. That's what I should be doing. But things like that where you get more out of yourself, right? And you're not down every day, and you're not low.
Yeah. And it's tough, especially, living in Canada with the weather that we have.
Yeah.
And the seasonal depression.
Yeah.
It hits everybody already.
Yeah, it's coming, right?
Oh, dude. It's already
here.
It's
Winter is here, yeah. Game of Thrones ripoff, yeah.
But yeah, it's just, we don't have the supports that we need.
Yeah.
And I think I really do value rest, and I wish, maybe one day we'll get to a place where, our working will be able to equally coincide with our resting.
Mm-hmm.
But, one day at a time.
That's
one
it.
Day at a time.
That's it. And just to switch it up a bit, you mentioned you're doing some collaborations. Who are some people that you've worked with in the past that you've really felt comfortable with and enjoyed? Like, can you tell us about some of the people you've worked with?
Yeah. I have a song out called Rusty, and I worked with Sam Soga.
Okay.
He's out of Cambridge, I think. And I actually met him just like online. We were just talking on Instagram and stuff.
Oh, cool.
He found me through something, or I found him, and we just started talking. And I knew that he produced, and so he also does everything. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He plays on cruise ships. He does crazy stuff. And I sent him Rusty one day. It was the first take I had ever done of it, and it was just a piano loop in the background, nothing else. I sent it to him. He was like, I love this. And I was like, oh, sweet. I didn't hear from him for another 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, word.
Comes back, sends it back to me. Whole thing is done. Background vocals, bass track, guitar track, drums produced, all of that manually put in. He did it all. And I was just like, I didn't even give him any direction.
Mm-hmm.
And he made it exactly, like we were on the same wavelength. He made it so beautiful. He did everything I ever wanted it to be. And he was just an amazing person to work with. He's an amazing person to chat with. I've also worked with Kiki Wilson. She's amazing. She's such a talented vocalist. She sang, song title is, but it was about slavery. And that song, holy, it is so powerful. It is so hard to sing. And I didn't know about that song until Kiki sang it.
Wow.
She sang it with the Recipee Band at Legacy.
Yeah.
And when I was in the rehearsals hearing her do it, she was doing it very nonchalantly. Like, she was not really into it. She was like, oh, I should have sang that part better. And she was asking things from the mentor. And I was sitting there just waiting to, like, have my turn, be there for the rehearsal. She sang that song, and I was blown away. Her voice is incredible. The rasp she has as well, the range, the tone. Every time I hear her do anything, I'm just blown away. I'm like, wow. And I've also, worked with Rufus John, as mentioned, and he's a crazy powerful vocal. And he does it so, I literally see him sometimes in rehearsals, and he's just talking to me about his day or something, and he's like, all right, I'm going to stand up now and sing. And he just blows it out the water. He just is projecting and belting with ease. And then he sits down and he's like, all right, see you next week. And I'm like, all right, cool. And Jon is just, his mind is so deep. There's so much. He loves conversation. His mind is he's so wise. He's so incredible to sit down with. Yeah. And I've just been so fortunate to even have these experiences with these people, let alone these musicians, Yeah. To have music and humanity come together in a way that aligns with your views and where you want to be, and having them know that there's a direction here. We are going somewhere, and we don't have to be productive all the time, but we're going somewhere. There is something here. Yeah. We will work on it when we can work on it. And it's been incredible. It's been incredible. It's only been like a year too. I was gonna say, like, it seems like everything came together when you needed it. You know what I mean? Where all these people that you've met in your life in the past year have really brought out the real Ayesha. You know what I mean? Brought out what you needed, because it sounds like, you didn't want to make music. You weren't kind of in that mindset. And now not only are you making music, but you're seeing others at another level. And my impression is you want to get there, because I know you can. Like, you you mentioned, like, what you're feeling when you heard Kiki sing is what I'm feeling when I heard you sing. Oh my gosh. So it's just like a, domino effect of, and when you sing and when Kiki sings and when you listen to that, more people are just going to be blown away. So I'm so glad you got to work with those people. Thank you for having me. I'm glad we got to meet. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, and just to wrap things up, I just wanted to ask, is there anything in the future you're working on? Like this Hip Hop for Hope, I know, is your main focus. Yeah. Are there anything else in the future coming for you, or? Yeah. So, yes, this Jon Corbin project, I think that's coming out hopefully in February. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but sometime early next year.
Yeah.
And I also worked on Sam Nabi's album. We have a song I featured on there for his great song that I was able to be asked for.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking to release I'm trying to decide between 1 or 2 songs before February as well. Because February, I'll be back at Legacy, but instead of being mentored, I'm going to be the featured artist.
Whoa! So now we're talking.
I'm going to be able to, sing more of the songs that I've written and really introduce myself as this original R&B artist in February for the very first time. And this year was the very first time I've performed any original music. Before that, it was all covers and things that I learned in school. I didn't feel confident or assured enough to do my own stuff. But after having a year of this and all of the support from community members, I'm going to be able to fully reintroduce myself.
That's amazing.
In February.
That's amazing. And can you let everyone know where to find you? Your Instagram, your Twitter, if you have that. I don't know, is it? I guess it's X now, it's not Twitter.
I guess, yeah. I honestly never really used Twitter.
It wasn't for me either.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm mainly on Instagram because I don't even know really how to use TikTok or anything else. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say. I'm 24, but I'm I don't know. But Instagram, my Instagram is my first name, Ayesha, and an underscore of my last name, Ahad. My first name is spelled Ayesha, and my last name is Ahad.
Perfect. Awesome. Last thing I'm going to leave it with is, before this interview, I asked Sook or Champa, I said, hey, guess who I'm interviewing next week? Ayesha Ahad. And he's like, dude. I was like, what do you think about her? He's like, dude, that's the future. No and way. Yeah, and absolutely it is. And he's totally right. So I'm super excited. So glad you could be with us. And until next one. Hopefully, maybe in a year's time, you can come back and see where you're at. But,
yeah. Of course.
But thank you, everyone. And until next one. Thanks.
Thank you.